Hey, it's Richard Geller here. And I used to have this attitude, I can't do this. I really can't succeed at owning apartment buildings or building my own business or building a financially successful, secure life. I don't have the money, I don't have the experience, I don't have the know-how. So what I did is I discovered something just completely shocking. You've never heard this before. And this is really for you if you want to own 1,000 apartment units, you don't know where to start, you don't think you have the resources, you're sure you don't have the resources, you don't have the know-how, you don't have anything. You're starting like beyond zero. You're starting way, way further away than you can imagine. Or perhaps you've actually achieved some success in real estate, like in houses, residential real estate, and you really want to move to the next level and you're wondering how you can do that. It's very, very daunting today with the need to have sponsors, the need to have substantial down payments, the need to have track record and experience. While interest rates are very, very low right now, the bar is very high for doing a lot of deals that could have been done earlier with a lot fewer resources, a lot more easily. So this is going to answer you whether you're in one camp or the other, someone who's never done it and is really behind the eight ball, or someone who's looking to get to the next level. All right. So what does it take to achieve success in anything? Most of us think it's a matter of what we have. So I would call those resources. They could be money, they could be other things. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, resources, in a moment. That's really only part of it. It actually isn't much of it at all. You don't need to have anything right now, and you can be a great success. It's a matter. So I know a lot of people that have gotten that way. For example, I reached success from having nothing and just being totally behind financially. So I know it can be done. Is it a matter of what you know? Well, a lot of people don't know anything, but they end up being very, very successful. So that can't really be just knowledge either. Is it a matter of what matters? Is it a matter of your motivation? Well, I will surprise you here, but a lot of people have been very successful despite at first having little motivation. So this is all good news if you are feeling that you don't have enough motivation, if you're feeling that other people really, really have this burning desire and you don't have it. Maybe you're like the guy I used to work with who put a picture of a Porsche up on his cubicle wall. So he'd be looking at this Porsche that he wanted to get someday. He thought that would motivate him to succeed because he'd be working for that Porsche. It didn't really work. Well, I'll tell you a real quick story. I wanted to be a sailor. Now, I'm not talking about somebody like a merchant sailor. I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do is I wanted to learn how to sail. I wanted to be able to sail. I wanted to be able to go with the girl out in the water and impress her. And I wanted to do some casual racing and maybe some cruising. And I wanted to become a sailor. And so I asked myself, what do I need to do or know or to become a sailor? And as it turns out, I was thinking about it. It turns out I don't need boats because there's a lot of boats. I went to the marina. There's these like slip after slip loaded with a nice boat. Nobody using that. If you go to any marina today, you'll see that 98% of the boats just sit there all the time. So, and even when people are on their boat, a lot of times they don't actually go anywhere. They just party on the boat, right in the slip, right in the marina, and then they go home. So a lot of people never even take their boat out on the ocean or on the lake. So it certainly wasn't a matter of having a boat. It wasn't a matter of having sails. There are plenty of sails. These boats all come with sails. It wasn't a matter of having the sails or the boats. It wasn't a matter of what I had or didn't have. It wasn't resources, in other words. I needed to know how to sail. I needed to know what to do when, not if, things go wrong. I needed to really understand the process that a good sailor knows. That's what I realized I needed to have. So what I did was I went to a sailing school and I took classes on how to sail, and I did a lot of practicing. So not only did I go to the classes, but after the classes I would go sailing. And I went sailing all the time, as much as I could, every single day. I went sailing that I could, which was 7 days a week at the time. And in addition, what I discovered is that when you're sailing, things go wrong sometimes. So what you need to do is, part of being a good sailor is knowing what to do when things go wrong. So you practice and you learn in order to take into account what to do when things go wrong. And what you do is you drill. So you pretend like a man is overboard, and then you actually do a drill where you get the man overboard and you bring him back into the boat. And you do this again and again and again. And everybody who's a pilot knows that this is what you do as a pilot. You do these go-rounds and these things as a pilot. You practice what to do when all the things go wrong. You assume things are going to go wrong, and you try to make sure they don't go wrong because you have checklists and you have knowledge. But you also kind of assume things are going to go wrong, and you drill, practice, and rehearse what to do when things go wrong. So this is what I realized I needed to know in order to become a decent sailor. And I did become a decent sailor because I figured out what I needed to do, and I acquired those skills. So let's go back to apartment buildings or to anything that you want to be successful at, like your own business. So what resources do you have right now? Maybe you think, I don't have anything. Well, maybe you have something. Maybe you have a supportive spouse. Maybe you have $100 in cash, or a loving family, or a body that is healthy. Maybe you have a 401k with a modest amount in it. Whatever you have or don't have, make a list. It's wonderful. Resources are nice, but they're not what you need to succeed. It's not a matter of what you have, because just remember all those boats in the marina. There's so many resources out there. The key to my learning how to sail and being a sailor was not having the boat or the sails. The key was just having the know-how and what to do when things go wrong. So that's all processes. So processes are much, much more important than resources. Resources can be borrowed or rented, but processes are what you want to acquire in order to succeed. It's learning the processes that you need to succeed. That is the key that I want you to get out of this. So there's like 3 things that you have in terms of capabilities. There's resources, which is what you have. There's processes, which is what you know. And then there's priorities, which are what is important to you over other things or values. So priorities are the 3rd thing. And you don't need resources of your own, but you need to ask yourself, what do I need to know in order to be good as a investor, or as an owner of 1,000 apartment units, or as a business owner with a successful publishing business or whatever. And what priorities do I need to have? What values? So for me, for example, I learned that my priorities were passive income, that I enjoyed going out there and making deals happen. I loved buying things. I didn't really like to broker particularly much, so I didn't do a lot of that. But I learned what I wanted to do over other things, which are priorities. And most of what I learned by apprenticing myself and spending months and months for free working full-time for a very, very successful investor who promised to teach me the business as I helped him for free. So that's what I did in order to learn. So my priorities were learning the processes over everything else, even putting food on my table. And in that case, we had a difficult time at that point with my marriage being shaky and everything, because I was spending so much time learning the apartment business, I wasn't really making enough money. But that was my priorities at the time. So here's the kinds of things, if you want to own 1,000 or 2,000 apartment units, you want to be successful financially with passive income for the rest of your life, you've got to have some processes that you've mastered. Patience in establishing sources of deals, so that there's certain things you do to build a flow of deals. Everybody in the business knows that they need deal flow. And you need to be patient as you work to establish these deals. At the beginning, you'll have nothing. You need to know how to find the deals, and then how to just go step by step, methodically, negotiating with sellers, working with buyers, establishing credibility when you don't have a track record. There are ways of doing these things. You need to learn those. That's all there is to it. You need to know that you're doing the right things in the right order, even before you've succeeded. So it's not enough to know these things. You also have to know that you're doing them right. That is why coaching is so critical. You need to know how to get other people to lend you money, how to get sellers to finance you, how to get people with money in their IRA or 401k excited about working with you so they'll lend you money. You need to know how to write up a letter of intent, how to perform due diligence, how to flip a deal without putting in a dime, how to close a deal you want to own, how to know what price to pay, because every apartment deal has a price that is reasonable to pay. And when you know what that price is, you can negotiate with confidence, and you can show the seller what price. And basically, the price is no mystery. There's an actual price that every deal should have that everyone can agree on. It totally makes sense. And how to convince the seller that that is the right price. So these are all the skills that you want to get in becoming a lifetime apartment investor. And if you wanted to become a publishing business owner and have a business like mine, or you want to have some other business or buy a business, you have to have certain skills, and you need to make a list of what those skills are. So for me, the priorities are passive income, what I'm going to do instead of other things, how to build up self-discipline, willpower, how to get better at performing tasks that I know I should do without being discouraged. And I've gotten better and better at this. This is something that I've really worked at. This is a skill that I want to build up, a process I want to get good at, learning what to do and then doing it without feeling discouraged if I don't get immediate results. Those are my priorities. I don't know what yours are, but you need 3 things to succeed. You need resources of some kind, minimal resources of some kind. You need the processes, the know-how, and you need the priorities established. So it isn't what you have, a lack of resources that's in your way. It's resources, processes, and priorities. The big focus should be on getting the processes you need to know to succeed. It's not money, it's not experience. You simply need to make up your mind. So the question is, what do I need to know in order to succeed? If I want to be a lifetime apartment investor, if I want to have 1,000 or 2,000 units and live the rest of my life that way, what do I need to do that? Get that experience now. And here's my suggestion. Join our gold coaching program. It's $7 for the first month. It's be closing shortly. We're going to be hitting 200 people soon. Every 2 weeks, you're going to get a new topic to learn, and you'll participate in a private online forum on Facebook where you're going to be able to get help from other investors and other people who are successful. You're going to get the knowledge that you need in order to succeed. Go ahead and click on the link that you see below if those topics are interesting. You'll be taken to a quick order form. Have your credit card ready. Fill in the order form. Let's get started together. We're going to be closing this out very shortly. Meanwhile, hope you found this very useful about what it takes to succeed in anything, the difference between resources, what you have, processes, what you know, priorities, what's important to you. And the key thing that's really needed, not resources, but processes. You need to know how to succeed. Thank you so much. Look forward to working together.